Alright, so let's go ahead and animate this rig. So the first thing I like to start animating is, you can really start with anything to be honest, but I like to just start with anything that rotates in a cycle. So for example, wheels or propeller blades or turbines or something like that. So so let's go ahead and do that. So let's select our wheels and then set a keyframe. Set a key. Make sure we're on loco. Now, so with the wheels, I want to just animate them in one complete cycle. So that just means rotate them 360 degrees. Let's turn on the snap. All right. Oh, okay. I should probably move it to the next frame. So I like the cycles to have a duration of 8 frames. There's no particular reason for that. I mean, because like for me, I always think of 360 divided by 8 is 45 degrees for each frame. So, I mean, you can do like other numbers, like you can do 10 frames, but actually, no, I don't suggest 10 because that means each frame will be like 36 or something. I suggest something that's easily divisible by 360. So, 12 is good, but anyways, so I'm gonna choose 8. So when you do the rotation, by default, I think Max defaults it to something called a, right. So it uses a kind of like a Bezier spline. They call it an ease in, ease out. So basically, from each keyframe, it'll ease into its value, and then as it approaches the next keyframe, it'll ease in. Sorry, it'll ease out from the 0 frame, and then as it approaches the 8th frame, it'll ease into it. But since this wheel, we want it to be cycling in a linear fashion, uh, we want to set this to linear uh, interpolation, right? So linear interpolation is this one right here, this one that kind of goes up, and then you want to do it for both keyframes. Sorry, yeah, that one. What the fuck? Oh, sorry, I'm in rotation. I fucking hate Max's thing. All right, so you click on rotation. So this is where I have my keys set on rotation, and I think it's on the Y. Let me see. Is it the Y? No, it's probably the Z. Right. Okay. So it's the Z that's actually it's being rotated around the Z axis. So you can sort of check by just looking at that little the blue thing. So it's rotating around. It's rotating about the blue axis, which is the Z axis. So just make sure you're clicking on rotation and then clicking on the Z axis. Right. So these are the frames that you want to set to linear interpolation. So let's go ahead and do that like that, and then go to the next one like that, like that. So what this does is it ensures that each frame is a equal value of 45 degrees. Jesus Christ, why did it set at 90? I guess let's just set that to 90. And then, what are you freaking kidding me? Come on. Did I not? Alright, okay, here. So now it's 45-degree increments, 0. So you can see the values. They're increasing by 45, which is what we want. We want kind of like a linear interpolation between frames 0 and 8. All right. So I mean, it's not super important that they start at the value of 0. Honestly, it's not really that important. I mean, I just like to have it as a kind of like a round number, just for my sanity. But like when you export this to Unity, because it's spinning in a complete revolution, it doesn't really matter where it starts in the frame 0, as long as the frame 0 and the frame 8 are at they're ending at the same position, right? So that's the only important thing is. All right, so let's go ahead and do this one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Obviously, this one's off. interpolation to linear. Right, so now it's 45. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, all right. So okay, cool. You can test it by just setting the frame length to 8 and then just playing it, and you can sort of see. Okay, cool. So it looks like it's rotating, um, like correctly, like as a real would. Now you notice it seems like it's a bit. No, no, it looks all right. I mean, it's not. Oh, it's weird. I thought I aligned this. See, you'll notice what some of the like one of the wheels is a bit off axis when it's rotating. See this one, this middle one looks a bit weird. I don't know. You know, maybe I think the mesh whenever I made this mesh, uh, the pivot point, I didn't set it to be exactly the middle. Whatever. You know what? This for this tutorial, I don't really care. But when you're setting your pivot points, yeah, you want to pay attention to the position of your bone. So you want to make sure that it's gonna be in the middle of your wheel, or else you're gonna get this stupid shit you see in the middle. The one on the left looks good. The right looks good too. Looks all right, but yeah, for the most part, you know, we'll just live with that for now. Okay. All right. So let's give me some more frames because I want to start to animate the gears moving in and out. Okay, so next I'm gonna just animate. I like to animate from the, as I said earlier, I like to start working from the top down. So let's just start animating from the top gear here. So when we export this to Unreal, we're gonna be using something called blend states or blend spaces. So, and the way blend spaces works is you kind of give it 2 or 3 or however many different poses. So, um, yeah, it'll be obvious later, but just go, just go ahead and just watch me do my thing, okay? So let's just set a keyframe on when it's open, and then on, let's say on the 4th frame, just close the thing. All right, let's see what that looks like. That looks all right. Now for this thing, since it's not really animating in a kind of in a loop, you don't have to worry about setting the interpolation to linear. You can leave it as a ease in or ease out. That's it should be all right. You know, but whatever, it's to your preference. I mean, in real life, this hydraulic piston here, the way it animates, it would kind of ease in and ease out. So I mean, it doesn't look too bad. Now you'll notice that there's some weird shit going on here. Yeah, it's so notice how it's not smoothly interpolating just straight up straight up along the green axis, the y-axis. It's kind of like it's offsetting itself. It's kind of like going to the right a bit. The reason that it's doing that is because I didn't properly set the stupid axis order. I should have done that earlier. Like changing it now, it might fuck it up. Let me just see. Yeah, fucks it up. Ugh. I probably should have done this. I probably should have set the correct axis order before I rigged it. Um, yeah, I don't know how good. Nah, it's not a good idea to change it after you rig it. Yeah, yeah. This is something you should have considered before you actually went ahead and created the rig and rig skin the mesh to the rig as well. When you create the bones, you want to pay attention to how how it's going to be rotating. So this particular joint, it's going to be rotating predominantly along the y-axis, the green axis, right? So it's just going to be going like this most of the time, right? It's never going to be going like this or like this. So the main axis that it's going to be rotating about, that should be your first variable in the axis order. So the axis order should have been yzx or yxz. changing now will just fuck things up. So because I don't want to change it now, we're gonna just have to deal with this. And to deal with this, what you need to do is you need to actually set a keyframe in between the 0 and the 4. It's not the prettiest way of dealing with things, but it's a hack. But if you're lazy and you don't want to re-rig everything, this will do in a pinch. Okay. So now let's just fix that so it goes up. Now it's still going off a bit like that on that frame, so just move it up in there. Yeah, should have mentioned axis orders. Alright, no, that looks alright. Okay, cool. Alright, so wheels are going in. Okay, there we go. Now the next thing I want to do is move them in, and then I just want to yeah, then I like to just set it back to the original position after I'm done. So from 0 to 4 it's in, and then on the 5th I'll just snap it back out. And then in Unreal I'll just take each frame as they are and just use those to blend between. Yeah, you'll see how it works when I export this to Unreal. So yeah, it doesn't look it looks kind of weird what I'm doing right now, but it'll all make sense in the end. All right, so as this thing goes in, I have to also animate the struts, these particular struts here. So let's make sure that we're set to loco. So let's go ahead and do that. Set them both, and then set a keyframe on 0 to 4. Oh, sorry. Auto key, that one. All right, so around this frame. So it's like on the first frame, you'll notice that they're linked over here, and then on the second frame, I just want to make. Like alternatively, I could use an IK chain to do this, but I mean, with the 2-bone setup, it's not really. You're not saving a whole lot of time, to be honest. So I'll just use forward kinematics to just kind of make sure that they line up like this. Yeah, whatever. Now, if it's a bit messy, you can like I said earlier, you can just go ahead and just hide this stupid mesh here. Hide it, then select that, and then unhide, and then hide. Boom, easy. We're not animating this. Okay, freeze that. Okay, there we go. Now it's much easier to animate. Cool. Okay, so we want that piece to be over there. So let's just kind of go like that. Ah, good enough. Oh, sorry. So on the 4th frame, just copy that one over the 4th. So the 4th frame, it kind of goes all the way up here. Yeah, you'll notice it's probably easier to use. I mean, it would have been easier if I set up an IK chain, but setting up IK chains can be a bit tedious as well, so I sometimes get a bit lazy. But so since we're almost done, so that didn't take too long. So yeah, I mean, setting up an IK chain wouldn't have saved us that much time anyways. There we go. Does that look alright? Yeah, whatever. I mean, like I'm not gonna be so precise in this tutorial, but I mean, when you guys are doing your own thing, you're probably gonna want to spend a bit more time than I am right now. All right, so let's see there. It's a bit off there. Yeah, it's a good thing I'm only animating 4 frames here. So you can sort of imagine if I did this over the course of like 8 or 10 frames, it's a lot more pain. But yeah, I mean, you typically. I mean, you're probably asking yourself, well, why don't you just do it over 2 frames? Like have the open frame and then have the closed frame. You can. I don't recommend doing that because when you export it into Unreal and you give it those 2 frames, like the open and the close, it's gonna do a linear interpolation, and so in the middle of the animation, it's gonna look like this. Well, actually, it's gonna look like, well, it's not gonna look like this arm is not gonna be exactly where that is because it's just not, okay. I don't know. Just take my word for it. I like to just give it like 4 frames of animation between each. All right. You'll understand later when I export this to Unreal. Anyways, getting back to that. So there. This is a really weird freaking joint, to be honest. Whatever. No design planes. What the fuck? Okay, no, you gotta go down here. Oh my god, alright, we're done. Alright, cool, fine, that one's done. Okay, cool. Alright, now that's done. And then, alright, okay, fine. Okay, and the last one, we'll just copy the first frame to the 5th frame. Alright, cool, so that part is animated. Now let's go ahead and animate the shocks. Right. So with the shocks, let's just start on the 6th frame. It's not important which frame you're gonna start on because when we export this Unreal, we're actually gonna chop up like we're gonna take each frame individually. So yeah, it doesn't matter if you start in the 6th frame or the 7th frame or anywhere up ahead. You know, I mean, you can even start in the 0 frame and then animate the shocks. But it's not it's not going to be easy for you as an animator because it's already animating on the main gear. So anyways, I like to just start where it's back at the resting position. All right, so that's the shocks in. Now let's do the shocks out. Now with shocks, since they're just gonna go up and down, I can even get away with just uh, using 3 frames of animation. The reason I use 4 frames of animation for the main gear is because this strut here is kind of a complicated. Uh, it like it doesn't like it's not like it's not like when you interpolate linearly the struts. Whatever. I just do 4. Okay, you know, whatever. You'll you'll see this will all make sense when I export this to Unreal. It'll all just come to light. All right. All right. So shocks out, shocks in, shocks out, and then shocks in. All right. So these struts, they're going to be following the shocks. Both of these struts. Strut your stuff. Right down. Like that. Okay. So when it goes down, what this thing does, it kind of goes like that, and this piston here comes out. Yeah, I don't know. Whoever modeled this doesn't understand how struts work. So whatever. Don't blame me. I didn't model this thing. So the struts are going to come out like that. It's a hydraulic piston the way this thing works, all right? So when air comes in this piston, it pushes this rod out, which kind of pushes this whole uh, wheel setup downwards. So that's how a hydraulic piston works, all right? So when you're modeling pistons or when you're modeling something mechanical like that has a piston like that, you have to understand that you know the rod, it goes all the way in. So the guy who animated this should have made the rod go all the way up there, so it can extend properly. So yeah, whatever. When you're modeling, just keep that in mind how a hydraulic piston works. Okay, this one's pretty simple. You just kind of go down and then it's gonna go up. So this rod goes down like that, goes down like that. Oh shoot! What the heck? Did I just? This thing not just? Fuck! It's not rigged. Are you kidding me? Uh, okay. You know, we can just go ahead and rig it right now. It's not a big deal. As you're animating things and you want to fix the rig, it's not the end of the world when you decide you have to like re-rig the mesh to a certain bone. God, what is man? Max's orbit tools are just the worst, man. It's like center around my goddamn selection. All right. Oof. There we go. Okay, so now we're good to go, I think. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Oh, cool. So there we go. That's seems like that arm is animating properly. So yeah. So even on the middle frame, it's a little bit off. So that's why you kind of want to tweak it a bit. Make sure it's set up like that. Okay. All right. Cool. So that's all set up. And now the wires. Let's just do the wires. So with the wires, because we're using an IK spline change, we're gonna have to animate these control points. These 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's quite a bit, but that's why I recommended earlier. Don't create so many control points. Like don't go crazy and create a control point for each bone, because you're just gonna have to animate all of them, and it's gonna take a long time. I mean, you lose a bit of fidelity in terms of how smooth your spline will look by using less control points, but in the end, it's a matter of the whole point of using an IK spline solver is to save yourself some time, so that you don't have to animate each little bone like this, because that's forward kinematics, and that's kind of a it's kind of a ball ache. Whoa, what the frick, man? Why aren't you? Are you jacking me? Oh, what the hell? Is this what? Did I break it? Shit, man. I wonder if I broke it when I just dragged everything and just copied it to the damn thing. Alright, hang on. I think we can fix this. No. Hmm. Why is this? Alright, let's see if we can fix this actually. Alright, seems like the IK solver is not solving shit all. It's not following my bone chain. Okay, so what I can do is I can actually just delete the chain and create it again. So let's keep that spline. We need the spline, but we need to delete this IK chain because it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. Oh, and then delete these points. Oh shoot, no, keep the points. Okay, so go to the spline IK and then just remove that modifier. What? Wait. Oh shit, you just moved all the way over there. So let's delete these points. Wow, okay, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. I probably shouldn't be doing it like this, but okay, I probably should have checked this before I started animating it, but this is a lesson that you should probably take into account when you're doing this in the future. All right, let's just remove the animations on this line here. Oh, you motherfucker. Okay. Jesus Christ, are you gonna stay there? Yeah, okay, fine. All right, okay, let's set up this chain again. Why didn't it do it? So that okay, select the first wire. Then go to animation, IK solver, spline IK solver. Now select the end. What? Maybe I need to be in orthogonal view. Gross. Okay, why is it? Maybe because it's. I think when I think I might have broke it when I linked it when I parented it to the gear shock. So let's try unparenting it. Let's unlink it. All right, because so now it's just the root. It's just a root thing. What? Why aren't you? Why aren't you? Oh shit. Oh god. Oh damn it. You know, I think when I dragged it, I think Jesus Christ, I broke the hierarchy. So okay, let's just fix that. Jesus Christ, what the hell? Alright, so let's say like that. Oh fucking hell. I guess I broke the hierarchy when I dragged everything over like that. Sorry. Alright, okay, cool. Oh my god. Okay, okay. Whew. Okay, okay, so now there we go. Now there's the controls. Okay, now okay, that looks like it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. But now I wanna how do I so probably what I should have done was I probably should have so because I want everything to be a child of this thing. Maybe I need to click on this wire and then maybe link link that to the gear leg. Does that work? No, so okay, no, that's not still not following. I also need to click on that gear leg. Maybe I need to bring the IK chain in there as well. And the line. Sorry, I just freeforming this shit. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, let's see that. How's that look? Whew. Okay, not bad. Hopefully this animates. Okay, okay. Whew, not bad, not bad. All right, come on, come on. Let's see if you can. Oh yeah. Okay, that works. Yeah, that works. Jesus Christ. All right. Okay. Okay. Now the rigging. I must. Oh my God. The rigging just. The skin mesh just fucked up. Let me see what happens if I just remove it. Okay. But I don't want to do that, and then I gotta re-rig it again. Okay. You know what? I'm not gonna re-rig it again, but the lesson is you guys, when you do this yourself, uh, make sure that you rigged, make sure that you be careful when you're moving this IK chain. Uh, be careful when you're making a child of another bone. You got to be really careful. I think what I did was I selected everything and then I just kind of like dragged it underneath the gear shock, and that fucked everything up. What you need to do, I think, is you need to select the top chain, the top bone right here, and then just make that apparent. Select and link it to that, and then drag these points, and then I guess you just gotta be really careful and not break the hierarchy when you're making them a child. You want to make sure that the hierarchy still exists like so, like same with these wires here, and same with the well, the IK chain is just a single object, so it doesn't really have a hierarchy. But yeah, the important thing is make sure that this is not broken when you're making it a child. All right, so anyways, yeah, I'm not gonna re-rig it because it's gonna take too much time. But anyways, let's just finish up animating this wire, okay? All right, let's just pretend everything's hunky-dory. Uh, so let's just set some keyframes on this bad boy here. So, okay, as it goes down, it looks like that. Keyframe there, goes down there, keyframe there. All right, down there, I just want to drag it down, so it looks like that. Drag that one down as well. Oh, okay. So it's probably best to start from the top and animate, so as I say. Oh, for fuck's sake, I'm not in animation auto key. Yeah. All right. That looks all right. That looks much better. Okay, so the wire goes down. It's following. and then just copy and paste that up there. All right, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay, all right, so that's this video. In my next video, I'm going to export this bad boy to Unreal, and we're going to set it up and as a blueprint and animate it. Okay.